Welcome to the Seeds of Discovery podcast, a space for exploring energy, intuition, and the deeper layers within. We're your hosts, Elaine Riley, Beth Blair, and Amanda McCaskill. Together, we guide conversations around Reiki, spirituality, astrology, and the subtle patterns that shape our lives, not as something to fix, but as something to witness, understand, and work in relationship with. This is a space for exploring your inner world, for noticing your patterns, your energy, and your natural rhythms so you can move through life with more awareness, intention, and alignment as you navigate the transitional pathways unfolding within you.
Oh, hey, Elaine.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
I am good. I am excited to be back in Elaine's studio here,
Yes.
recording another podcast. Sharing about what we love is just so much fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
So I think that opening the door to our conversations gives light to, I don't know, our teaching style or so much more. It's more than the teaching. But yeah, so I'm excited to be here
Me too.
and today we're talking about traditional stuff, traditional Usui, but then we're going to talk about Holy Fire too. Actually, Holy Fire 3, but Holy Fire also,
Yeah.
or the evolution of Holy Fire. Yeah. So I know there's so much information out there on Usui and his story and Usui Reiki as it's come to our area. But what I guess I'm thinking and I'm stammering here, so give me a minute. I think I'm so full of so much energy that
Yeah.
I want to get all the words out at once.
Yeah. I understand that. It's a big
But
topic. It's a big topic to cover,
it
like
is.
Reiki in general and Usui. And I didn't even know that there were different ones when I first took my Usui. I just assumed it was all the same. And it
Okay.
wasn't until I talked to you about my master and you're like, what kind do you want to take? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know there were different kinds.
And yeah, and there were a whole bunch of other styles. And I think that they show up when the student is ready. That sounds like a cheeky little, you know,
Mhm.
cliche-ish kind of thing. And at the same time, I find that it's really true because when I was looking for like what to do next, I was studying a different energy modality and
Mhm.
I didn't know what to do, like how to find a Reiki master because the modality I was studying was like, ooh, Reiki is the bad stuff. And it's okay, I got to
Yeah.
figure this one out. So then a teacher showed up and I was like, okay. And I had a friend who wanted to go, so I didn't do it alone.
Yep. Same with me. A friend asked me to do it. And I'm like, you should definitely be doing Reiki. I took it with her,
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah. For her. Yeah. You took it
Yeah.
for her. Yeah. And
And
here
now
you
look at
are.
me. Yeah. But that's what I thought at the time. I thought that she should be doing it. So I'm going to take it with her because I was interested in it, but I really wanted her to do it. And she wanted to do it together. So I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. And see, and I did it, the rebellious nature in me said, I've got to go see what this is about. And what it opened up for me. So I was teaching Tai Chi at the time. I was very much into Chinese medicine and stuff like that from my massage practice. And the one thing that was missing in my energy practice was the lineage component because I could, with Reiki, with Usui's Reiki, I could connect the dots back to Usui.
Yeah. I think
And
that's really, really cool.
yeah. And so I'm sure Usui, before this was Usui Reiki, because he was studying some pretty cool things too. He was such a scholarly guy. And the the energy came to him while he was, I don't know, I don't want to say crisis of faith, but like he was looking for something.
He had his own spiritual awakening.
He did.
And I feel like
Yeah.
so many people are going through that right now. So it's very relatable to,
It is.
but I feel like that's how Reiki finds you when you're on this journey and you have that spiritual awakening. Reiki, that's when Reiki presents itself to you. And yeah, like you said, it comes when you're ready.
It does come when you're ready. And then, so like the traditional style was very, or is, because it's still, people are still teaching Usui's style of Reiki, it's very ceremonial. And I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on the Reiki master, like that you're driving the bus.
Yeah.
You're not driving the bus. And if you think you are,
Mhm.
like, I think that you need to do some more work.
Yeah.
And that feels like a little bit of a slap down. But like I had to get out of my own way on this Reiki journey. Like,
Mhm.
because I am not in control of your attunement, your placement, your path, where you're going to go, what your next step is, or even how you're going to use Reiki in your life.
Right.
And if I think I have any influence over that, I need to check myself at the door and say, you got some work to do, girl, because
Yep. It's a hard
it's,
lesson though,
yeah,
to let go of that control because you see the potential of people and everything you want for them and you think they should be doing. But at the end of the day, it's not you in control, it's Reiki in control. And Reiki is going to lead them to the path that they need to be on, whether you think so or not.
yes. And it's funny because I think, not naming names, okay, but I think in some classes, sometimes like the challenges that come up, like when we're presenting information and you see the hackles come up on a student because
Mhm.
we're rubbing up against a belief that we're inviting them to something new and the resistance is there. And it's okay. I could argue with you, and my past self would, like, to the death, you know,
Yes. So
to the
Aries and
wind.
Scorpio. Yeah.
Yeah, to the wind. I'd be like, yeah. And then
Mhm.
now I'm just, okay, have fun with that. Let's see where that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Mhm.
inviting you to the idea. Because I've had some of those hard lessons of it has to be this way. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So I think the foundation of Usui, like it gave me all the dance moves, right? Because I learned the attunements. And I think getting all the dance steps like aligned with where I was at the time, because I was teaching Tai Chi, right? So
Mhm.
I had all those kind of moves. And so that resonated, but it was a lot of pressure to learn all of that in 2 days, 3 days, actually, three
Yeah.
days at the master level. I think now, like the transition to Holy Fire and how the process is done there takes the pressure off the master a little bit.
It frees up more energy, I feel like. Like, because when you first learn about the Usui traditional way of the master passing on the energy to the student, the master is very involved. Their energy is very involved. The energy is running through them, and they have to be in the right state of mind and the right energy, not necessarily for it to work, but for it to be the best it can be. And that's a lot of pressure on the master.
It is.
So
And
in the holy fire, the energy just gets invited in. Like we guide you to where you need to be in the energy and open you up and say, there you go, you have your own experience. We don't have our energy isn't involved in it at all. And I think
yeah,
that makes it really a lot more special, a lot more individual.
right.
It's what every individual needs.
And I think it lands more completely for the student, because the energy is not bumping up against my
Yeah.
ego based stuff, which we all have stuff. We continue to work with our shadow and that kind of thing. And the benefit of the holy fire process, I think, is that I can continue to work on myself while I'm in that class because I'm receiving too
Yeah.
in those moments. You were the other way as well, but you were in the way
Yeah.
as the master. And yet, at the same time, we respect all lineages of Reiki
Mhm.
because to me, in the end, it's all coming from the same place. It's just a different dialect or different
Mhm.
phraseology or well, I think it's like the difference between English and French. You have words for the same things, but it's spoken differently. And
Yeah. I like
so
that analogy. Hmm.
I think that the energy comes to the person in the language that it needs. Even if we compared what we talked about last time about animal Reiki or Karuna and
Hmm.
Holy Fire and Usui, it's all Reiki. but it's just, how is it going to help you lead you to the process or the healing or the component of this plane that we're on that you are meant to work with? I think that for me, the Holy Fire was an interesting transition, and it took a lot of years to actually get me to the place that I understood where I was going.
I
Because I resisted it. I resisted it, a lot of it.
We did. I don't think it
Yeah,
was until we started working together, talking stuff out and going back and forth that we understood what the ground base of the energy was. Because we were too
yeah.
caught up in the details and
Well,
things that didn't matter. Nice. We needed to
right.
connect to the actual energy and teach and feel from how we work with it and how it
Yeah.
lands for us, not how we're supposed to experience it.
Yeah. And that's that culturally created self stuff. See, I
Yeah.
had to slow myself down to say that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of healing to do there. And
Uh-huh.
it's funny because looking back on it, I say, oh, yeah, I had to do that. Yep, that's it. But while I was in it, oh, I was like trying to put a cat in a bathtub. I was fighting it every step of the way and
Uh-huh.
clawed myself up a little bit in that.
Yeah.
So the evolution of Holy Fire has been an interesting thing because there was Holy Fire, and I don't have my dates in front of me, but there was Holy Fire, and then there was an upgrade, uh, because there was like this was a new dialect that was coming in, and it was a heavy. I don't want to say heavy process,
Mhm.
but there were things that needed to be tweaked in the people who were receiving the information in order to move it into the greater collective.
Was
Like the
Yeah.
was
It was a work in progress. You don't know how the energy is going to feel until you experience it. So then when it
uh
came to fruition and William Rand started working with it and attuning people, the energy was what they needed at the time. And it's going
uh
to be what we need in the future. So I see a continuous evolution of the Reiki energy. And I've only experienced from 2 to 3,
right.
the Holy Fire 2 to 3. But even that was a
uh
huge change and a huge, I want to say, awakening and aha when we upgraded from the 2 to the 3. And it's one of those things where you're like, we debated. I remember debating, do we need it? Do we need the
Right.
3?
Yeah.
I feel like we're always pushing against that. Do we need to do that? Do we need to invest in it? Do we need to spend the money on it? Because we're skeptical.
We're guilty of being perpetual learners.
Yes.
So we always think that we need to go to the next thing. That's part of my MO. It's okay, what other certification? How much more do I have to prove that I know what I'm doing? But
Right.
in the evolution of Reiki and the Holy Fire energy, I feel like it's not necessarily that you learn more. I feel like you release more to allow yourself to have a deeper relationship with the Reiki energy because it works with all of those parts of yourself that you question, you doubt, you
Yep.
look for validation or whatever the things are. And the beauty of it is for people who study with us, they don't have to go through the process of Holy Fire 1, Holy Fire 2, Holy Fire 3. They are coming in, they're meeting the energy in the way that they need to from the Holy Fire and beyond, because
Mhm.
I don't believe there's going to be another evolution of it that is quote unquote taught or released, at least
Yes.
not for a while. The energy is going to meet the people that it needs to meet.
Yeah.
Uh, at least that was my understanding at the retreat last year. But then the world, but then the world changes,
We
and
don't
then
have
the
control
energy
over it.
we don't. So um, the the thing that I was curious about talking about is because there was this dance step between, and this was a hard one for me, and this was a hard one for you too. There was a dance step that changed from Usui to Holy Fire, which is where we were supposed to let go of our guides
Yeah.
and and the Ascended Master idea, which like pulled the rug out from under me on my attachment to the lineage and the history. Because when I would step up tableside, I felt like all those Ascended Masters had their hands on my back. And as I'm giving Reiki to someone else, and this is where it was focused on giving Reiki to someone else, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I had all of them behind me. So it wasn't me necessarily. And that's how I took myself out of the way. But then Holy Fire came along and said, nope, nope, cut the cord. You're going right up to the top. You don't need the intermediary. You can go. However, they were faithful friends. You know what I mean?
It felt weird. And up until that point, the beginning of my Reiki journey was about connecting to my guides. I talked about it all the time, about how they give me information. And like it was part of my personality at that point, me and my guides. Like we're friends. We do our thing together. Like I need my guides. And then when you
Yeah.
did my master training, Holy Fire master training, I remember you being nervous to tell me.
I saw the look on your face as I was starting to tell you, and it just kind of, I was
Yeah.
like, uh-oh. And
Yeah.
this was before I've done a lot of work where my delivery is a little bit more gentle, I think now.
Yes, I think so too. But there again, like we have the teachers we have because that's the energy we need. And I think I needed that hard break. And at first I didn't understand at all. Like it was a struggle. I didn't want to let go of my guides. I didn't understand. Like they gave me so much information. And it wasn't until I worked with healing the ego and the culturally created self and all that stuff that you learn in the master class that I realized I'm getting chills that you don't need your guides because you can go directly to source energy now.
Right.
They're the middleman. Do I work with my guides still? Absolutely. But I work with them in a different relationship. Like I know that I can go up to source energy, but it's more like phoning a friend. Hey, can you help me figure this problem out? I know the energy. I know what the energy is telling me, but I need somebody to say, yeah, give me some signs, give me some synchronicities, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Pat me on the
Well,
back. Let me know I'm doing a good job.
spoiler alert, I feel like the cast of characters got a name change and I'm not being disrespectful to it, but they got a name change in Holy Fire 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're there, you know, they got a
But it
name
is
change.
more
And I
like
said,
you were talking about how they're like lined up behind you and they're helping you and they're behind you, putting their hands on
"Uh-huh."
you and it's flowing that way. But now I
Yes.
feel like it is like a round table, like everybody's together,
Yeah.
everybody's having the
Norm
same meal.
show.
Yeah. So it's the way you work with them. It's not that they are above you. And I know that sounds egotistical, but if you connect with the energy the way that we have, you know that it's not like you carry the same energy. You carry the same God seed inside of you, the same light as the ascended masters do. And it's that you are equal to that energy that,
Right.
yeah.
Because that energy lives inside of you and it's been in there. It's to me, it's the sleeping dragon. Like
Yep.
you don't realize you have it until it connects and heals that part that has been layered on top because of the cultural influences that you've had, your family, your ancestors, your school friends, your teachers, whatever it is that has layered things on top of you from your authenticity. You don't know what you don't know. You don't. And then when that wakes up, because it's in there. And that's the part that takes a long time to come around to because you think it's up here, it's coming, because we all do this where it's like source energy is here,
Yep.
right? But actually, source energy is here
Yeah.
because of how you were created. And so when we get caught in dogmatic things that separate us, we lose that sense of self and that sense of purpose. And I think that Usui knew all of that in his search up the mountain under the waterfall, which is such a beautiful imagery of the wake up that he got.
Yeah.
And in his excitement, tumbling down the hill and stubbing his toe, so to speak, and healing himself in the energy shows the power that we are gifted if we choose to accept it. Yeah. How do you think I'm like going, oh, am I jumping to the next thing? No. How do you think they work together? Do we talk about animal Reiki and Karuna Reiki last time? Do you find a separateness between Usui and Holy Fire and Animal and Karuna?
I think at the core, no. They all do have a different feeling. And I think it's interesting that both of us took Usui first and then did Holy Fire. So we know the difference in the energy, whereas like our students don't. And it's
Right.
not that there's a huge separation, but it's more, I feel like Holy Fire feels smoother. The integration process is a little easier. The, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's more integrated into
Or-
our souls and what we need now. Not that Usui wasn't, but Usui was, I don't want to say harsher. It wasn't harsher. It was more prominent, where Holy Fire just like cohesively melded. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's the part where the teacher's involved in the attunement process that gives the Usui, because it's in the Usui style, the teacher is actually coming in on your energy. And it's not like getting that last stuff into the garbage can. That was just a really bad analogy, but it's not like packing it down. Whereas with the Holy Fire process, because the energy is just invited in and then it goes where it wants to go, it gets placed in such a way that it's in the integration, maybe it's not. Oh God, I'm on really bad analogy day today. Back
Okay.
in the day when I was in high school, the thing was the Jordache jeans and the Sassoon jeans and all that kind of stuff with the fancy pockets on your butt. And the tighter your jeans, the better.
Why?
So it was like lay down on the bed and zip up your jeans and get it
Oh,
in there. To me, that's like what we're talking about. It's like you had to get it all in there. And it looked good and it worked great. It's versus leggings of today. You can put those on, they feel great. They might have the compression that you need, but you're not feeling it's forceful.
right.
Is that a good or bad analogy?
I'm just thinking about the next part when you're trying to get out of the jeans and you're
I
unpacking all
know.
that.
Oh, honey, just get me a pair of scissors and cut them off
Yeah.
because, yeah.
But I mean, it works.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I had a little revelation while you were talking about me being like a Pisces and very empathetic and always in everybody else's emotions and stuff like that. Maybe that's why I had such a hard time with the Usui Reiki, because we haven't talked about it on here yet, but I've talked about it before, where my first class was like ripping the Band-Aid off spiritually.
Yeah.
Everything just came in all at once and it was amazing, but it was a lot to handle. So Holy Fire, the other person's energy isn't involved. So I'm not reacting to their energy. I am going we're bypassing them. So I have my own individual experience with the energy, whereas the other way, not saying it's bad, but for someone like me who absorbs everything and doesn't
Mhm.
have that control of their energy or their emotions yet, plus everybody else in the class too, I'm trying to, yeah, balance their emotions and my emotions. And let's,
Be honest about this, Lane. You were trying to manage their emotions for them. You were taking
oh, yeah,
responsibility for them too,
absolutely.
which is a sweet thing. And it's the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis thing.
Uh-huh.
If you help a butterfly out of a chrysalis, you cripple it. It needs that force coming out on its own. It needs a little bit of a struggle to have those beautiful wings.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't like to watch struggle. I don't like to watch other people struggle. And at the same time, I can't always fix it for them. I want to be the fixer. I want to tell you how to do it.
Uh,
I want to tell you how to do it. I don't want to
I know.
do it for you, but I will tell you what I
Mhm.
see. And sometimes, yeah, you're not ready to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
Not you, or like you
Yeah.
collective.
Yeah.
And so now I'm working on asking permission to say what's coming in because sometimes
And
yeah,
I'm
but
working on the bleeding heart thing and not trying to fix everything for everybody and just letting them do it for themselves, because I'm not doing them any favors by guiding them step by inch.
yeah. I think that's part of the beauty of the commitment to teach in the Holy Fire style, because each time we teach, we have the opportunity to receive those placements and ignitions again for ourselves. It just keeps getting richer. It keeps getting richer. And in the offside, not being in the classroom. As a Reiki master, you can do those things for yourself. You can go through the ignition process, you can go through the placement process, use those meditations to help you with something that you're working with, or you're ready to move to that next level of self-development. We have so many tools in our tool bag simply because we're studying all these styles of Reiki.
Yep.
And it is such a gift. And okay, the last thing I think for this is talking about the expense of Reiki. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's a sticky topic. I've invested a lot in my Reiki training. I probably will continue to invest a lot in my Reiki training because it's valuable to me. Okay. And the path I chose was to walk down the path with the International Center for Reiki Training. And the reason I did that is because they had a standard. They invested time and research into Reiki and creating the manuals that make our job easier. And at the same time, you and I, evolving our teaching style to adapt to the spiciness of our learning style. We
Mhm.
learn differently.
Yeah.
So, like, I find value in the commitment of the people who came before me, and I am
Mhm.
willing to pay that price.
Yeah.
That's just me.
No, I completely agree. It's a you get what you pay for type deal. And there's so many people that think Reiki should be free because it's energy. And we truly want so many more people to have Reiki training just for themselves. But on the other hand, if you give it to them, it's not, I don't know, it's just not as sacred. And I hate saying money makes it sacred because that's not what I'm saying. It's when you invest in something, you will tend to invest more time and energy into doing it and practicing it. And the time and energy that we've invested into learning
Uh-huh.
it to teach it in the way that we teach it. Because we've had a lot of horror stories about people taking Reiki classes that weren't
Yeah,
amazing. And it
right.
makes my heart hurt because it should be the opposite. It should be a magical experience. And like you said, ICRT, they do have a code of ethics and they have an energetic baseline for teaching.
And pulling a page out of Mrs. Takata's book, right? She was one
Uh-huh.
of the lineage masters. There has to be an energy exchange. Money is a currency of energy.
Mhm.
And the value that, and I'm getting lit up on this one. I always get lit up when I talk about Miss Takata. I think she was a badass.
I think
Um,
she's one of your guides.
I think she is too. Because when I start talking about this, I'm like but there has to be an energy exchange. And that is a firm thing. That's the Capricorn in me that's saying this is a rule you have to follow,
Mhm.
because the value that you give, whether it be currency, paying it forward, there always has to be an exchange. If I'm going to
Mhm.
give you Reiki for free, whether it be a session, a class, an idea,
Mhm.
I am going to ask you to do something. If I'm not asking you for money, I'm going to say you have to pay it forward in some way. And you have to tell me how you did it, because, you know, that's an important part of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so any last thoughts on Usui and Holy Fire for this podcast episode? Should we leak what we're talking about next?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. We're
No?
talking about how we use Reiki in our everyday lives, but not just everyday lives, like the things that I think are passions, how we take our passion for Reiki and put it into our other passions to make it even better, even greater.
Yeah. So until next time, right?
All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for being here with us. Take a moment to notice what resonated, what shifted, what opened, and what might be asking for your attention. This work isn't about having all the answers. It's about learning to witness yourself with curiosity, compassion, and presence as you move through your own transitional pathways. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep discovering